Good afternoon, Facebook. This is your girl, Teresa B, coming to you live and direct from Amplified Exposure Live. And today I have my lovely guest, Miss Trice Hickman. She's a national best-selling author, and she is dope. And she came on my show today, not just because she has one of the greatest books out right now that everybody's talking about, but she came on today because she likes me. So for those of you that are out there in La La Land, TV Land, Roku Land, listen up. We got about 30 minutes of goodness to spend with this precious gem. This Hickman. Now, I already warned her. For those of you that have been with me for the last 8 seasons, you know I'm goofy. So you know it's about to go down, right? Okay. Y'all need to let her know. How are you today?
I am wonderful. I am, I can't complain. I say every day above ground is a good day.
Amen. Especially with everything that's going on in the world today. So yeah, every day of life is beautiful.
It is. It is.
Just saying. So let's get right into it because I was reading up on your book and I was so impressed.
Oh, thank you.
I must say, I'm going to have to read the part 1 to this story because this is a little juicy. It's a little juicy. Mm-hmm. So how long have you been writing? When did your career start?
Well, I've been writing. I feel like all my life, but my career started with my first novel in 2007. Now, let me preface that by saying, for nearly 20 years, I suffered from writer's block. So I had writer's block for a very long time before I published my first book. And I self-published that first book because after I finished it, every single agent, editor, publisher that I submitted my work to, they turned it down. They rejected my manuscript. So I published it myself. And it was the best decision I could have ever done because it got me out there. And that's one thing that I tell aspiring writers all the time is believe in yourself, believe in your work. Don't let anybody, change your mind about what the direction you want to go, and just go for it.
Right. So what year was it when you decided to actually go for it on your own?
It was 2007.
Wow, 2007. And how long did it take you before you got to an actual publisher?
So, a great question. So, let's see. I was in the process of publishing my third book when Kensington reached out to me. An editor from Kensington reached out to me and was interested in, in talking about, signing me for a book deal. Well, at the time, I didn't have a literary agent or anything. So, and I was in the middle of publishing a third book. So I went ahead and published that book. I got an agent. We negotiated, and I think it was in 2000. Was it 2011 maybe?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 2011 that the book deal came. So it was 4 years from the time that I self-published my novel to the time that I got a traditional contract. And I've been writing with Kensington ever since.
Wow. So when you went on your own versus when you went with a publisher, did you have some autonomy on as far as the cover was concerned, or did they change some of the writing? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. Another great question. Self-publishing is wonderful in that you have, like you were saying, the autonomy and the control of your own product. So you decide what your cover is going to look like. You decide when it's going to be published. You decide all of those things. When you sign with a publisher, there's some negotiation that has to take place. Luckily for me, I worked well with my editors, and every time when when a new book was going to come up and be produced, they would contact me and say, okay, what are some of your ideas for cover design? And I submit my ideas for cover design. Sometimes, we're on the same page, sometimes not, but it's again a negotiation. So that is probably, I think, the biggest sticking point in terms of like my creative license with my stories and what I want to write. I've never, ever had something that I wanted in my book taken out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, they were giving you a lot of freedom over there. That's pretty good. Have they ever given you a type of artwork that you was like, absolutely not, like, we're not
No.
using that?
No, I've never had anything that I thought was absolutely no. But I have had covers where I wanted certain things tweaked. Like even with my recent cover of Blindsided, this is the first book that I've had like a graphic. This is the first book that I've never had like cover models. So when I submitted to my editor, just my thoughts about what I wanted the cover to look like, because it's a story revolving around three women and their journey. And the book's predecessor had cover models on it, right? The other side. So when it came back as a graphic, I thought, oh, this is different. It was just jarring to me because I had not had a graphic. But I love the colors. I love the layers. I love the dimension. And then
it's beautiful. Do you have the book in front of you?
I do. Let me hold up the Blindsided.
Yes, I love those colors.
I love the cover. The only thing I wanted them to tweak was her head wrap, her scarf.
Okay.
And they did. They tweaked that. And so, it turned out, I think, really beautiful. I love the colors. And I think it represents, strength. It represents vibrancy. It represents an independent woman. And all of three women are independent in this book, independent, strong women. So I think it captured it perfectly. So I'm very pleased.
Awesome. So let me talk about these three women here because they got a lot going on. So we got Bernadette Gibson, we got Miss Tess, I didn't get her last name, and Miss Arizona.
Yes.
She sounds sassy, Miss Arizona.
She is. And I loved her evolution in this book. She is a budding entrepreneur. And she's the youngest of the bunch because the three ladies, they share the same birthday. They were all born on the same day, but they were born a decade apart. So Bernadette is 50, Tess is 40, and Arizona is 30. And they each have some kind of dilemma that they're going through in the story on their quest to find happiness and love. And their sisterhood is what bonds them and helps them get through those troubling times. But the premise of the book, Blindsided, it's titled that because once they get through the other side from the first book, they're blindsided by what happens next. So with Arizona, she's in this, she's a newlywed now, she's married, and she married her husband knowing that there was severe, a pretty serious sexual dysfunction in their relationship. And Chris had great difficulties. So it's her journey of how do you make that work and what's most important in a marriage. And as she's trying to figure that out, her first love comes back into her life. Yeah, so it kind of complicates things a little.
Arizona got to make some choices.
Got to make some choices, and then with Tess, who's 40 years old, she's an author, so I can identify with her professionally, and she's engaged to this wonderful man named Maceo. And Maceo is he loves her so much, and he wants to create a family and create a legacy with children, and but Tess is holding a secret inside, and that's that she's been told by several specialists that she can't conceive. Yeah, so fertility, and she's at that age where fertility becomes an issue for a lot of women. So I address that. And then for Bernadette, who's 50, she's in the stride of her career. She's the CEO at a hospital. She's engaged to a wonderful man who loves her. This is her first time having real love. And her happiness is threatened by something that happened in her fiance's past that threatens to tear them apart, and tear them apart in a way that it could possibly send him to prison for the rest of his life. And she knows the information, but she's in a dilemma, like, should I you're like, what?
Wait a minute. What does she know? Do I need to go get this book tonight? Like, what does she know?
But and then she has another surprise that kind of blindsides her. At 50 years old, she finds herself suddenly pregnant.
Did you say at 50?
50. Yeah.
Bless her heart.
Bless her heart. Yeah, that's what we say in the South all the time. Bless her heart. So it's, so these ladies are dealing with a lot of things. And what is wonderful about this story is that it's a testament to sisterhood and to having good girlfriends. And that part of the story I can absolutely identify with as well, because I have been so blessed to have a small but very close, wonderful, tight group of sister friends who have supported me through all kinds of problems, situations, and I've done the same for them. And it's just wonderful to be able to write about that kind of relationship.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So while they're blindsided with all this new stuff,
Yeah.
especially the 50-year-old having babies, like, did she have other children prior to being pregnant?
No, this is her first time being pregnant ever. She has had a string of just failed relationships throughout her life. And that's why it's so exciting for her when she meets Coop. And Coop is, I love his character. He's a wonderful man. He had been incarcerated in his younger days, and he had a past, but he turned it around. He turned his past around, and is like, I guess you could say, the honorary mayor of the small community where they live, because he's done so much to give back in the community. But something from his past that was, it was a murder. Yeah.
But even though it was a murder, he became a Black man with a W, winning. So yeah. I like that. Okay. Now, what about the other two men in the story? How did they turn out?
They're wonderful too, but they have to, not like Maceo. He is a restaurant owner. He loves cooking. He can, go in the kitchen and just burn, and so he has a restaurant, and he wants to leave that legacy of ownership and pride for a family, for children. He wants to have children, and he's expressed that to her, and she knows that, and she willingly accepts his marriage proposal, knowing that, I might not be able to give this man the babies that he wants. But at 40 years old, she is finally happy with the man, and she's afraid to tell him this. And then some other things happen.
Yeah, I know you can't. I know you can't give away the whole plot.
I can't.
I'm sitting here like ready to eat some popcorn because this is some juicy, good story. Drink some tea type stuff.
It is. I love them. And then, with Arizona, and I think Arizona's story arc is the one that when I taught with book clubs, we spend the most time dissecting her dilemma, because her husband, Chris, he's a good man. Arizona has a 5-year-old child from a previous relationship. Okay. Chris came in and has raised Solomon as his own. He takes care of Solomon. He takes care of Arizona. He supports her dreams. He's a hard-working, just solid, good man. But Chris has a micro penis. And look at your face.
Okay.
So it creates, it creates some situations in that relationship. And so she tries to get beyond it, because as we know, there are many roads to pleasure, right? It's not just penile penetration. You can find pleasure in other ways. So Arizona thinks, okay, we love each other. We can make this work. But oh, I'm sorry. My Alexa just went off. But she says to herself, I'm going to make this work. We can make this work, but they're sexually incompatible as well.
Oh, wow.
So what do you do when everything that you're trying to make work doesn't work? And you want to be fulfilled in that time, in that area of your life, and the person who you love can't do that for you. He's good in other areas, but that area falls short. And in that area, our sexual health is so important. And I think it's something that women from my generation didn't talk about a lot, because I'm in my 50s, and it wasn't discussed a lot. But I think everyone is entitled and deserves to be sexually satisfied and have a healthy sex life, because your sex life, it contributes to your overall health as well, and the health of your relationship. Because as I've said this before, there's a saying that when the sex is good, it's 10% of the relationship. When it's bad, it's like 90% of the relationship.
Wait a minute. I don't agree with those percentages.
Well, because if it's bad, it causes other problems too, because you're frustrated. Right. And it's a part that you concentrate on. So when sex is good, you don't even think about it, because it's good. You don't think about it. When I say you don't think about it, it's not something that you're going to argue about.
Right. You're not concerned, because
you're not concerned.
Yeah.
But when it's bad, you're concerned.
Yeah. See, this is a family show, so I can't ask the questions that I would like to ask. So we're going to have to do that off camera.
Okay.
And you said he had a micro penis that just had.
Well, it is a clinical diagnosis. It's if you Google, you'll know what I mean.
Oh, I still got questions. I still got questions.
You still have questions, okay?
So when you created these characters and put them together, this bond, this friendship, how much research did you do? Because to talk about, the intimacy piece, and then the deception with not being able to conceive and things of that nature, how do you go about researching your character to get more for your characters?
Yeah, so I had done a lot of research for Chris's condition,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually joined in on a few blogs because there were blogs for men with micropenises and women who love men with micropenises or involved with them. So they have support groups. And so I did a lot of research there and just reading about the clinical diagnosis of it all and the function of it all. And then with the other characters, of course, you research, you have to, if you create a character that has a profession, you really need to know that profession so that you can take that character through a work day, because at some point they're going to have to go through that work day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're talking about real life. So I did that with Arizona. I did that because she's a budding beauty blogger, beauty guru, entrepreneur, makeup artist. I don't know anything about that, but they've got some great YouTubers and influencers out there who helped me to be able to write this part. And the same with Bernadette. Luckily for me, I chose Tess as an author, and I know that world. So
Right, right.
yeah, so that was one that I didn't have to do too much too much on.
Right, right. And so it's easier to write. I mean, it's a process that flows when you actually know about that profession. I get it. Yeah. So cool. All right. So anything else you want to tell us that happens in the end that does somebody overcome? Because
I don't want to give away too much. I feel like I've already had, but what I do want to say about the characters, and this is what I love about them, and I think it's true in real life with any of us, is that the characters that you meet in the beginning of this book they're not the same women, the exact same women by the end of the book. They've had some kind of transformation, they've had some kind of realization, some kind of awakening, right? um,
right.
or they've dealt with a situation that needed to be dealt with. So that's what I can say about the end of the book, is that these characters, and they still are there for each other through thick and thin, and they call each other out when they need to be called out, and they embrace each other and hold each other up when they need it. You know,
Now that's a sister. Yes, that's a good
that's a
sister.
sister.
Yeah. I love it. Oh, I'm gonna have to read these books. I'm gonna have to. So how many do you have out total right now?
So Blindsided is my 10th book.
Wow.
Yeah, it's my 10th. And as I was telling someone the other day, the book ended, but the story hasn't. So these women are still on a journey, and I am going to see that through. But I also have some other writing projects that I'm working on as well, and I want to resurrect my blog, um, a blog that I've wanted to do for a very long time, and it's coming in 2022.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I definitely want to know what Arizona does. Her man, because high school sweetheart coming in and he woo wooing. And
Yes. Oh,
I
and he's
mean,
such a good man. Let me say this too. One of the things that I equally love about this story, in terms of like having wonderful female characters, I have very good male characters too,
yes.
who, yeah, who are strong men, loving men, um, supportive men. So I do love, you know, all of these characters.
Yeah, and that's a blessing because a lot of men would appreciate that because most female writers tend to kind of bash men in the books based upon personal experiences. And so you don't have too many positive male characters anymore. So that's awesome that you flipped it around and you had positive vibes only when it came to the men in the characters in this book. But they
Yeah.
seem so real. They seem like, like we know them, because of the way you've kind of went about explaining all of them. So I'm
Thank you.
interested. Yes, I'm interested to read more about these characters.
Well, I can't wait for you to read it.
Yes, I'm gonna send you an email and be like, "Good, wait a minute, what are you talking about?" I feel it. I feel it in my bones. I feel it. So tell the audience this: do you outline or are you a pantster? Do you write at the seat of your pants?
Yeah, good question. So when I've become more efficient with each book. When I first started writing, because I suffered from writer's block for so long, I just, as they say, you throw up on the page and clean it up later. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I did. I just wrote. So now I do outline. And I don't do a strict, tight outline because inevitably, as a writer, it changes. The story that you start off with isn't necessarily the story you'll end up with based upon what the characters, how they drive you.
Right.
So I outline, but I also have like a freedom to go beyond that or outside of, what I think might happen in the story.
Okay.
But it helps me though to have some kind of blueprint to go by.
Do you use like cue cards? Is there a certain program that you use, or is it just straight notebook? Like, how do you do it?
It's straight notebook. I'm old school. I'm old school. It's straight notebook, little notes jotted down here and there. But I primarily do a lot on the computer now. So like I used to handwrite out like each chapter, which
Mhm.
is some authors still do that. But for me, I think because of the repetitive use of hands, and I think I'm, with carpal tunnel, I can't do that anymore.
Right.
So I basically write, but I always keep a notebook in my or a writing pad on my nightstand. So if I get an inspiration in the middle of the night, because I'm up all hours of the night, I do not.
Oh, I know the characters. They're in your head. I know. I'm a writer as well. I
Yes,
get
you
it.
know what I'm saying. And then a thought will come to you, and you don't want to lose it, so you've got to get up and write. And
You
yeah,
gotta get up. Yes, I should. I had some crazy characters, so I didn't have all the positive like you have. My characters were killing people, and yeah, it was
that's
a
what I
hot
was going to ask you. Did they kill people?
yeah, it's some deaths. We took some casualties. They were a little cuckoo.
You know
And they
what?
were in the church too. That's wouldn't even go there. But yeah.
Well, yeah. But
Well, yeah.
what is interesting is, at least, and I think you'll agree, the more flawed the character is, the more fun it is to write them
Yeah.
because you're just amazed at how just nuts they are.
Yeah, but then it makes me question myself, like, where did I get this mess from? Like, where did this come from? Is that really deep, deep inside of me? Like,
It's that imagination.
it's imagination. Yes. Well, thankful for your great imagination to bring out these lovely characters. And you have a lot of people on here watching, saying
Oh,
hello.
hey everybody!
Yeah.
I've seen a few people pop up, and I try not to look at it because I'll get all distracted.
Yeah. I know it flashing in front of the screen. You're like, oh, wait a minute. But yeah, you have a lot of people supporting you today. And if you don't have
Oh,
her book, anyone out there, if you don't have her book, please go to tricehickman.com. That's a website, right? I say it right?
yes, that is right.
Okay, because I'll mess up the
TriceHickman.com,
name in a minute.
and I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, um, the social media platform, and then my name, Trice Hickman.
All right, all right. Thank you so much for coming on my show today. This has been a blessing. So tell me one more thing before you leave. If you had one writer in the world that you would like to be mentored by, or you would like to follow in their footsteps, who would it be?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I'll say this. She already like mentors me, and she's actually, I saw her just pop up just a few minutes ago. My sister, my friend, my just wonderful human being, Kimberly Lawson Roby.
Yes, I love her.
Isn't she? Kim is just the wealth of knowledge that she has, the generosity of spirit, the kindness, the genuineness, and it's all rooted in God. She's a God-fearing woman, and
Yes.
she has been so instrumental in my career, and I just love her. So yeah.
And she gives people hope. I've heard her.
Does.
Yeah, I've heard her talk several times about relationships and things of that nature. And so I'm like, oh,
You should listen to her podcast, The Woman God
have.
Created. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I have. I'm a Kimberly Lawson Roby fan for life. Listen, anything she touched, I'm there. Okay,
Right.
so yeah, I've been reading her book since I was a little girl. So yes, I am a huge fan of hers. Know all about. And she's going to be in my next issue of my magazine. We actually did a story on her.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, we got to
read
get you too. Yeah, we got to get you too. Mm-hmm.
You.
You're up next.
You.
Well, thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's been a blessing and a pleasure. I wish you much success in your writing career. I can't wait to see what you have coming next.
Thank
I
you.
am going to go buy the book. Blindsided. Blindsided. Y'all better go get it if you don't have it already.
Let me hold it up one more time.
Yes, please hold it up. Blindsided with that pretty cover. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much, Miss Hickman. You have a good evening.
Thank you. You do the same. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate you. God bless you.
All right. Bye, y'all.